Whoa. Howdy, Kyle. Cool. Mail-in voting. Talk about mail-in voting, dude. So Fox News views things, and conservatives in general, they view Trump as a daddy. They call him daddy. There's a weird psychosexual relationship with conservative men. You know how conservative men are really attractive to really buff, roided out guys, bodybuilders, but women like more of like a chill, you know, still strong abs, more of like a dad look. But they have this big image of a sexy man in their brains, and that's why they Photoshop Trump onto this big muscular body. They view them as their daddies and their leaders. It's really weird. The homoerotic, psychosexual nature of them. And this segment from Fox News, from Jesse Waters, Dems need a daddy, and this may be the guy.
Democrats are living in a broken home. Daddy got cooed, and Mamala left for vacation and never came home. So the house is a mess, and the roof's starting to cave in.
My brother's a Democrat. I don't know why, but he is. My father was a Democrat. I know exactly why he was, but his party doesn't exist anymore. Now it's the left arguing for a cultural elite. No Democrat would have argued for open borders. You know, none of this. My father would have done none of this.
Cuomo's looking for a new...
No Democrat. Oh yeah, talking to Benny Johnson, Russian paid propagandist, one of the most disgusting liars in human history. No one advocates for open borders. Find me one prominent Democrat, maybe one. You might be able to find one. Find me one Democrat who wants open borders.
Home, and there just happens to be a big, beautiful house right across the street. It has a gold patio, marble trim, a big, beautiful flagpole, and great surround sound. DJ.
That patio is disgusting. It looks like the outdoor smoking section to a beach casino.
Donnie T was just testing it. It's the hottest house on the block, and everyone's looking to make the move. The New York Times says in just 4 years, over 4.5 million Democrats packed their bags and moved to a home with a daddy.
New reporting in the Times this morning, just broke a short time ago, of the 30 states that track voter registration, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one.
The New York Times says this isn't just a dip, it's a potential death spiral for the Democratic Party. For the ones who haven't flocked, they're acting like runaway kids, screaming, stomping, and they won't come back to their collapsing house. Texas Democrats tried shacking up with Uncle JB back in Chicago. The house was nice, but JB back ribs wasn't generous with the leftovers. Grandma Nancy broke her hip, so they're not staying there. So they came back home to Texas. And to make sure they wouldn't flee.
The way he's talking, this is not a bit. He talks like this all the time. He knows the viewership has an average reading level of like second grade. So you need to give them a narrative, like a children's book. And we need to, like Gavin Newsom right now, the way he's talking, or the way his social media team is talking, is the only way to communicate to these people. And Jesse Waters knows this. Do you hear how he's talking to his audience? He knows his audience is dumb. Like, he knows it. He knows for a fact his audience just like eats paint chips all day.
So they're not staying there. So they came back home to Texas. And to make sure they wouldn't flee again, the governor gave them a 24/7 escort service. One Texas rep said she wasn't going home. She locked herself on the House floor and threw a slumber party. She spent the night there and told MSNBC she was ready to get down and dirty.
Say, take that high road. Well, you know, that high road has crumbled. We're on a dirt road, and we're going to meet them on that dirt road and get down and dirty just like they are. And so my fellow Democrats are ready to continue the fight with the grit that is necessary to challenge the oppressor.
At first, she was all by herself, but then she poked her head out and made it a girls' night.
Let her out. Let her out. Let her out.
Mama has been away, but she called to tell her a bedtime story.
You just remember when you're in those rooms and it feels like you're the only one there, we are all in that room with you. And so any moment where you feel alone, you do not feel alone. You've got to know we are all there with you, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All
Strong.
right, my dear.
Thank you.
Stay strong.
Yes.
Okay, I'll see you later.
All right, take care.
You can reach out anytime. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh, my goodness.
Then Gavin called, but she was camping out in the bathroom.
On the floor right now. I'm still under house arrest. I'm not free to leave. In fact, I am confined in the bathroom.
Well, thank you. My blood boils. I physiologically went like this when you started talking. Remind me
I physiologically went like this. Oh boy.
where you are, the fact you're in a restroom, the fact that this is actually happening in the United States of America.
The Texas flea bagger boarded up the bathroom, brought a laptop.
Oh, where's this interview at?
I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the vice president, some of the senior team at the White House.
Where did JD Vance do this interview at? Is the full interview out for JD Vance? I see a video.
I thought,
who did he
what
talk
a good
to?
show.
The Ingram angle? Is the JD Vance full interview not out yet? Because I was going to watch that. Okay.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for having us here today.
Good to see you.
So you had quite an eventful morning
We did.
over at Union Station, as we saw in that clip.
Union Station in DC, I've been there many times. It's a train station, completely safe, no violence, no crime whatsoever. I would let my wallet in the middle there. It would not be stolen. But of course, we are militarizing it, and JD Vance went there today with Nazi Stephen Miller to talk about how we have to save the city from the evil Democrats.
Tell us about how you decided to go over there. You know, a lot of us D.C. residents and former D.C. residents know it well, but it's
Yeah.
been the site of a lot of crime in recent years.
Of course.
And you decided to pay a visit. What happened?
Well, so a couple things. So first of all, I had heard from a couple of friends who used to avoid Union Station because there were vagrants and there were crazy people screaming at kids that they avoided Union Station. But over the past 9 days, since the president did this emergency order, it looks a lot better, it feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Steve.
And remember, when Vance says all this bullshit, his fan base, number one, doesn't care about the truth. They don't care about the truth. And they've never experienced this trip. Okay, they don't know what it's like there. So they are going to believe whatever JD Vance says.
Miller and with Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday. And I was like, we should just go over there and say hello to people. And you've got a lot of National Guardsmen over there, some D.C. cops who have been heckled by some of the protesters. So I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the vice president and some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, hang out with him a little bit. And
So
actually,
cool.
the most interesting thing, Laura, was after the...
Yeah, because you're paying these people who are supposed to be serving our country and serving our communities. You're paying them to frolic. You're paying them to frolic in rich areas and be assholes. They don't even like it. They feel bad about it because they don't know what they're doing. Anyone who's been in D.C. knows the National Mall, the Capitol, the Beltway, the Union Station, all these areas has virtually no crime. Like, it's very, 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 very safe.
Cameras left. Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops and just learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. So crazy statistic. Violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days. Robberies in D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days. And it highlights the fact that this living with...
By the way, you would never be able to report data that soon. The data collection process would not be reliable within 8 or 9 days. It would not be complete within 8 or 9 days. You would never draw a conclusion in a 9-day span. All right, you can draw a conclusion in the past 30 years or in the past 4 years or 3 years with a 40% reduction in crime or 50% reduction. The huge reductions we have seen. But like him saying that is complete bullshit. But it sounds good to people that don't know stats or anything.
Lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again, and that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that
Is that my computer?
enforce the law, you can make even cities like DC safe again. And that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously DC is a federal city, New York, LA, these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live again.
So your pal Gavin Newsom.
If you just take control of these cities, it can be a safe place to live. If the federal government can militarize your city and take complete control over your state and local rights, you'll be safe. All right, trust the federal government and its unilateral power. All right, guys, put all your trust in the federal government. All right, we're gonna keep you safe. We don't need local law enforcement. We don't need city councils. We don't need mayors. We don't need county commissioners. We don't need governors. Let the federal government control all of the weapons in society, all violence from the state in society. What can go wrong? Let's give ultimate power to this federal government, to this authoritarian leader. Let's give all of our power to them, and I'm sure they will use it to keep us safe, guys.
Calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things about, oh, martial law is going to be declared. And to that, you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab, or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days? How many people are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital. So what I would say to Gavin Newsom or to any...
because you're sending a bunch of military equipment and personnel into the National Mall, using emergency powers that are reserved for actual natural disasters or invasions, or huge generational problems, not law enforcement, not crime prevention. You're holding up like $1 billion from the budget for DC for crime prevention and for police. You're holding those funds up, and you're sending in the military instead. Again, fake numbers, fake rationale, and his ultimate argument can be boiled down to: we need the federal government to take control of this entire country. We need the president to be able to use the military however he wants. If the president says there's an emergency here, he should be able to use the military and be an authoritarian. All right, that's all they're saying.
Everybody else in some of these big blue states or big blue cities is you can have law and order, you can have common decency, you can have public spaces that young families can go to again. I'll tell you a story, Laura. A couple of years ago, the last time I was in Union Station, I took my little kids there to get lunch, and they were being screamed at by homeless people. Not compassionate to the homeless people to let them just fester when they clearly have mental health problems. Not compassionate to young families to not be able to go into one of America's great public spaces without being screamed at by a person clearly suffering
Why are
from a
Democrats
mental
doing
illness.
this?
I don't know.
Why is this a political strategy?
Laura, I have thought about this so often and so many times. I don't know why Democrats seem to love public disorder and chaos almost as a political ideology. And I think that part of what's going on is Democrats have gotten so divorced from the communities that they allegedly serve that they don't realize the gross majority of residents in D.C., they want to walk through Union Station and just have a bite to eat or enjoy the space with their families. They don't realize that so many people have been absolutely terrorized by Democrat crime policies. And so maybe they just don't make the connection between what Gavin Newsom says.
I've never felt unsafe going through DC, ever. I've never felt unsafe, even in bad parts of DC. I've never felt unsafe. Now, you might get uncomfortable looks in bad areas, or you see some people doing wheelies on a four-wheeler or something, or riding bikes or motorcycles or whatever, but I've never felt unsafe. I do now feel unsafe. There are federal agents who refuse to identify themselves, policing these areas that have virtually no crime. I was at the Shake Shack in DC, just having a milkshake, sitting on the floor in the corner because it was super busy one day, and there was nothing happening at all. Like, there was nothing happening at all. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Shake Shack and Union Station in DC. Nothing bad was happening. Nothing crazy was happening. But now, if I go there and there's federal agents marching around armed with face coverings, unidentified, that makes me feel much less safe than a random homeless person, okay? Every time you should side with, you know what, a random person, you know, doing a petty shoplifting crime or being homeless, that one person is never going to be more of a threat than the federal government using unilateral authority and unilateral national emergency powers to bypass all checks and balances to send the military to do whatever the hell they want them to do. You should always, as an American, be more wary of the government versus a singular person doing something you don't like.
And the fact that places like D.C. or Los Angeles have some of the highest murder rates in the world.
And the D.C. police are being investigated for potentially manipulating their crime data. I've heard this from other police forces across the country. Great cops, beat cops in places like Chicago have said, some of the crimes are reclassified to make a burglary something that's more of a disturbance, and that kind of stuff happens. But is this a federal...
That's really dumb as well. Why would police be involved in downgrading crimes? All right, they do a lot of this collection. These offices do collection. The offices that do data collection get paid more money if there's more of an issue. Okay, if you have more of an issue of crime, more violent crimes, more everything, the police and these people get more funding. Why would they purposely hide higher crime rates? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Issue at this point if this is a manipulation of data and if it's widespread.
Well, certainly something that's being investigated, and I hope that we'll uncover what's going on. But even aside from any manipulation of data, when you have 911 wait times that are so long, a lot of crime doesn't even get reported. And we heard this all the time. People would say, well, my home's being robbed. I'm not even going to call the police because it's going to be 45 minutes before they show up. And that's not an indictment of the beat cop, by the way. They're so overwhelmed by how much violent crime there is that they're unable to actually bring public safety to these communities. So
again, remember, Congress and Trump, they're currently withholding $1 billion that was supposed to go towards law enforcement and community safety. $1 billion from DC right now that could be helping with that issue. But no, they don't hire more cops. They don't train more people. They don't give better benefits. They don't give a better chance for mental health coordination or crime prevention in general. What they do is they restrict even more money. They have one crime happen and they say, we need martial law, essentially. We're going to send in the military. We don't want solutions to actually solve crime with local law enforcement. We want to send in the military.
What we're doing is just changing the balance a little bit. We're putting more good guys on the streets and we're taking more bad guys off the streets. And we think that's the sort of thing that's going to bring public safety back to D.C. Again, it's already working in a very big way.
Now, on to Ukraine. Your February meeting with Zelensky and the president, that was quite something to behold.
It was good
how did you all break the ice this time? Take us into the room, because we're all dying to know that.
Well, I think so President Zelensky walked into the Oval Office. I was chatting with him, with the president, with some of the senior Ukrainian delegation. I said, Mr. President, so long as you behave, I won't say anything. And he just chuckled a little bit. It was a good little icebreaker. I mean, what the president's trying to do, meaning our president is trying to do, is bring a 3.5-year, very brutal conflict to a stop. It's killed way too many Ukrainians, way too many Russians. It's completely transformed the economy of Europe and of big parts of Asia. We just got to get back to peace. And I really do think you heard Vladimir Putin say this, that if Donald Trump had been president in 2022, this war would have never started. And now the president is really spending a lot of time, a lot of effort to stop Joe Biden's war, because I think
that's ass kissing from Putin. That is ass kissing from Putin. You know, Trump was calling for a ceasefire nonstop, and then he meets with Putin. Putin tickles his balls a little bit. Trump gets down on the knee pads for a little bit. You know, Putin says, "You're such a great, big, powerful leader, Trump. America's alive now with you, and I love being inside America." And Trump says, "Wow, Vladimir, you speak so eloquently." And Vladimir said, "Your elections are stolen, Trump. You won 2020 with the mail-in ballots, destroyed you." And Trump's like, "Yes, Vladimir. When they put those mail-in ballots in the ballot boxes, it really destroyed my insides." And then, essentially, you know, Vladimir said, "Hey, Trump, I know you want a ceasefire, but I want to keep our fire going." And Trump now, after that heated exchange with Putin, is now anti-ceasefire for Russia and Ukraine. Do you see how that works? Our pathetic pussy chief, our commander in bullshit, like,
is Joe Biden's war. Without him being weak and provocative, I don't think that Russia would have invaded Ukraine. And now we have a situation where a president is trying to be strong and bold
weak and provocative,
trying to bring this thing to a close.
Now, take us into
so airstrikes in Ukraine quadrupled since Trump won the election, by the way. So, you know, Trump being in office makes it a lot worse. Without any support from the U.S., Ukraine would have been rolled right away.
The room when the president said, "I'm going to call Putin now." And you got the Western leaders, they've all come to Washington. Now, what was their facial expression at that point? Did they anticipate that this was going to happen? Because it was...
This is like when you're at Christmas as a family and there's a kid that's in college and they come back for the holidays and you're really excited to spend time with them. All the EU leaders in the same room, all right? You're like, oh, we finally got this one person. They're a little stupid, a little immature. This person is Trump, and you get them in the room finally to have a good conversation about what's happening. And they say, oh, no, Derek just called me. I have to go talk to my boyfriend. And that's what Trump said to them, essentially.
What, 8 hours ahead, Moscow time?
Yeah, it was like 1 a.m. Moscow time, and they had no anticipation. So we're actually in the east wing of the White House, and the president says, you know, we've had a pretty good meeting. I'm going to go call Vladimir Putin and see what he says about it. And everybody's like, oh, you're going to call him next week? And he's like, no, what time is it in Moscow? Let's call him right now. And I think one of the things I realized about President Trump's leadership is he cuts through the BS of some of these diplomatic protocols and just says, I'm going to get things done. If I want to talk to somebody, I'm going to talk to somebody.
Oh, what did he get done?
A lot of the Europeans who were saying, no, there needs to be proper, vetting, and the teams have to prepare the phone call and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we should not prepare at all. We should not prepare any security concerns. We should not prepare any cyber concerns. We should not prepare at all. We should go in there saying random bullshit, guys. That is how we should treat wars. Let's say random bullshit.
And the president was like, no. I want to talk to the guy. I'm going to talk to the guy. And I think that kind of no holds barred, no BS diplomacy is part of the reason why we've made the progress we have. And we've made a lot of progress, Laura.
What progress?
Who knows what's going to happen? The president tells
Russia increasing their drone strikes by 400%. Russia bombing more children the day of this conversation with the EU. His biggest offensive attack towards civilians of the entire invasion that Russia has done to Ukraine. What progress have we made, guys?
tells me this all the time.
Weird.
You can never say with certainty what the outcome in this situation is going to be. But we now have the Russians talking to the Ukrainians. They're talking details about what would be necessary on each side to stop the fighting and stop the killing. We've made more progress in 3 months than the country had made in 3 years in stopping this conflict. And I think it's because sometimes you just need a president who will pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yes, dude.
When Vladimir Putin meets with Volodymyr Zelensky, can we assume that all the big details will have been discussed and generally agreed upon, namely the security agreement and land swap?
It's a good question. I think that
What do you mean land swap?
if you go through the bureaucratic process, then the answer is yes. But I think the president's preference and my preference would be, let's have them meet regardless. You don't have to figure out every issue. And sometimes leaders sitting down face to face can break the logjam that their teams don't necessarily have the ability to do. There really are 2 big questions lingering out there. And in some ways it's very simple, but in some ways it's very complicated. Number one is Ukraine wants to know that it's not going to get invaded again by Russia. It wants to know that it's got territorial integrity long into the future. The Russians want certain pieces of territory, most of which they've occupied, but some of which they haven't. So that is really where...
So Russia does not even control areas of Ukraine they want to fully occupy. The areas Russia wants to control from Ukraine is the equivalent if China invaded the U.S. and wanted to take all of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. That is the equivalent portion of America that Russia wants to take of Ukraine. By the way, when they talk about, oh, just give Russia what they want, all these lines and do land swaps. What land swaps? There is no land swap here. It's Russia getting what they want. And once Russia is positioned deeper into Ukraine, officially backed by the U.S., the next illegal invasion that they're going to do again without security guarantees, real security guarantees, probably peacekeeping troops, probably some type of Article 5 protections, although Ukraine's not going to be in NATO, Russia will be in a better position to invade Ukraine yet again. That's why Zelensky won't accept the bullshit deal that Trump wants to push for. But if you're a brain dead moron, idiot, dumbass who watches nothing but your hand jack.
The meat of the negotiation is the Ukrainians want security guarantees. The Russians want a certain amount of territory. Again, we finally got the details. We're working on them, but we haven't figured everything out. And I don't think that we should force, we shouldn't say that they can't sit down until you figured out every little detail. Sometimes them sitting down is what facilitates figuring out those details.
You have been so strong on the idea of Europe paying for Europe's defense.
Sure.
And I think a lot of Americans don't understand that the EU GDP last year was about $19.18 trillion, if I'm right, give or take. And the UK's is about $2.9 trillion. Sure. Ours is $29.8 trillion, right?
You know the numbers better than I do. You should be Treasury Secretary.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott, I got your job. No, but so this is a lot of money. Europe has the money to defend itself. So the security agreement, my question to you is, Why should America carry the lion's share of the burden from now until Lord knows when for Europe when Europe has the money to defend itself?
Well, I don't think we should carry the burden here. I think that we should be helpful if it's necessary to stop the war and to stop the killing. But I think that we should expect, and the president certainly expects, Europe to play the leading role here. And what he said very clearly is, look, the United States is open to having the conversation, but we're not going to make commitments until we figure out what's going to be necessary to stop the war in the first place. And I think that it's, the president is very good. He never takes anything off the table. He never puts anything fully on the table because he doesn't want to give away his leverage. And this is the private conversation that we're all going to have about what's necessary to stop the war. But no matter.
True, Sammy. Putin will not sit down with Zelensky. Ukraine and Zelensky have agreed to every ceasefire so far. They have showed up to every summit so far, every possible diplomatic meeting. Russia has pulled out and spit in America's face. All right, Russia was bombing Christians on Palm Sunday. Not a peep from the Christian nationalist government we currently have.
No matter what happens, no matter what form this takes, the Europeans are going to have to take the lion's share of the burden. It's their continent, it's their security, and the president's been very clear they're going to have to step up here.
What's it like meeting Putin? What was he like just one-on-one?
So I've actually never.
He's an eloquent speaker, and he really cares about his people. He's going to say something about he really fights for his country, like a nationalist message. He speaks very eloquently. That's what Trump says too.
Met Putin. The president did that meeting. I've talked to him on the phone a number of times. It's interesting. He's more soft-spoken than you would necessarily expect. That the American media has a particular image of him.
Wait. Are you saying the image is wrong? The man who puts bounties on the heads of American soldiers, you're going to say the media in America has them all wrong? A brutal dictator that shoots his people if they don't vote for him. They fall out windows in Russia. If you say, or you get poisoned if you say something even slightly against the regime. Like, are you really just going to say, oh, he's soft-spoken, unlike what the media portrays? Like, bro. God, dude. Pro-Russia party.
Soft-spoken than you would necessarily expect. That the American media has a particular image of him.
He's more soft-spoken, he says.
He's soft-spoken in a certain way. He's very deliberate. He's very careful.
Deliberate,
and I
careful.
Think fundamentally,
all
he's
compliments.
a person who looks out for the interests as he sees it of Russia. And I think one of the reasons he respects the President of the United States is because he knows the President looks out for the interests of the American.
But talk about Zelensky. He's a selfish, brutal dictator, asshole, actor who wants a huge summit event for his ego to be bolstered so he can control Ukraine longer with his martial law. And, Zelensky, how dare you not even say thank you? Have you even said thank you once, Zelensky? But Putin, he's soft-spoken. The American media has the wrong interpretation of who he is. He's actually a very deep person who cares about his people. If you have to be literally brain dead as shit. Again, the thing I always say, you're like an NFL running back. You're like you're the last white NFL running back. Like you really just got pounded in the head so much, your brain is falling out your ears, bro. It's crazy.
American people. And while they often disagree about issues, and obviously the president has been very critical of Vladimir Putin, the president's also willing to work with anybody if he thinks it's going to accomplish an important goal for America. And we all agree an important goal is to stop the killing.
Let's move to the economy because that is still the #1 issue in the United States for most.
Oh, stop the killing. Wait, who's doing the killing? I heard Putin is speaking very softly and caring about his people, and he's very, very deliberate. Who's doing the killing? Why is there an invasion happening? And all the Trump people in my chat are going to be like, it's NATO's expansion, because they're a bunch of brain dead idiots.
Voters, sure.
The Democrats seem to be banking on an economic downturn, just like they seem to be banking on chaos in the streets against the National Guard.
Sure.
How do you see the economy in the next 6 months as we're seeing some continuing uncertainty regarding interest rates and Jerome Powell?
Well, unfortunately, you have the Democrats. I think they really are betting against the United States. We're betting on the United States and the American people. There are a lot of good things happening in the economy. You have a lot of new investment coming in part because of the tariffs. People are trying to avoid the tariffs by building in the United States, which is their whole point, Laura, and why the president has been right about this issue from the beginning. You see blue.
Will you teach me? Call into the show, please. Will you teach me? Call into the show. Call in, will you teach me? I saw your two super chats. Please call into the show. Please call in. Call into the show. I want to hear your vast knowledge on Ukrainian relations with Russia. All right, I want to hear about how the CIA did a coup of the Ukrainian government and forced them to become a puppet of the West, all right, and how NATO is the reason Russia's invading. All right, you got to tell me all the facts, okay, please.
Collar wages rising at their fastest rate in 50, 60 years. You see inflation cooling off, though there's still a lot of work to do there. So I feel very good about where the economy is. You can never predict the future. But I think what people all over the world recognize is that it's a time to build in the United States of America. If you want to build a car, you want to build a car manufacturing facility, if you want to build a next generation technology facility, if you want to build houses, whatever you want to do, we are the place to do
How
business.
about rare earths and magnets, which is what we're dependent on with China, which gives them an enormous amount of leverage over us.
And that's something the president has really directed the entire team to fix that issue, because whether it's rare earth magnets or pharmaceuticals, he wants the United States to depend on Americans. We should not be in a situation where foreign adversaries or competitors have control over critical parts of our economy. Think about this, Laura. God forbid Americans are in some sort of conflict and we can't get antibiotics because we're in a conflict against a country that makes the antibiotics. You don't have economic freedom and you don't have real prosperity unless you make your own stuff. That's why the president of the United States is making it so much easier to build things and make things in America.
Now, I know you love talking about
Manufacturing is one of our sectors that's actually declining in America right now.
about politics because you're going to say, well, we can't look forward to 2028. I understand that.
I'm sick of politics.
But Democrats are still doing.
Call from.
Don't do it. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. I think it'd be nice to have we surely disagree. I think you get that. That's what you teach me, by the way. You told me to call. I call,
What's up?
But yeah, other than that, we disagree on some stuff. But I would like to have just a reasonable conversation. We can disagree, but yeah. Where would you like to start, I guess?
I mean, it's pretty clear. Do you agree that Trump? Do you agree that Trump is in love with Putin? Like he really loves Putin as like a brother?
As a brother, no, but he probably respects him as a leader. I would go with that.
Trump has said about Putin that Putin's very strong. He cares about his people. He said him and Putin have been through so much together, including Russia, and 2016 and 2020 hoaxes and all that kind of stuff. He talks about Putin like he's an old friend. Did you see the hot mic with Trump where he says, I might be crazy, but I think Putin's making a deal just for me. Yeah, just for me because I'm a special cookie for him. Yeah, it seems like Trump thinks they're in a relationship.
I don't think he said anything about us being a special cookie, but.
Well, he said it might be crazy, but I think he'll do a deal for me. That if you don't, you know that it sounds a little bit desperate.
Yeah, it's probably because Putin respects him in a certain way. During the entire war, Putin never talked with Biden. Biden never reached out to Putin to make any sort of deal. All he did was send billions of dollars over to Ukraine.
Are you saying that there was no efforts at all for diplomacy during that period?
Yeah, Biden and Putin never talked.
No, but there's no efforts at diplomacy?
There was no... I'm not saying there was no effort for diplomacy, but I'm saying the person who runs the country of the United States at that time,
February. Okay. I have a. Hey, wait a second. Here's official White House documents. Okay, so Joe Biden spoke with Putin for hours before Russia invaded. After the invasion as well.
He spoke for hours before the invasion started, and then the invasion started.
Hey, you just said they never spoke. You said they never spoke. So December 30th, 2021.
Yeah, I never said that. I said they never spoke about diplomacy after the war.
February 12th, 2022. So when it comes to like Putin here, he was probably going to invade Ukraine no matter what. Right.
It was going to invade Ukraine no matter what because of after they annexed Crimea. After they annexed Crimea, they shut down water supply to down there to their agriculture field.
That makes sense. Right? If Russia annexes Crimea, that was a defense mechanism for Ukraine to block a water source, right? Because Russia annexed their territory. That's pretty common retaliation. Is that not justified?
You can retaliate, but if you don't expect retaliation back.
Wait, so. You're blaming Ukraine after Russia annexed Crimea for them shutting off a water supply, and you're blaming Ukraine for responding to Russia's aggression, essentially.
How far back we got to go?
This is why I wanted you to call in, because that's a really dumb point. But When it comes to like every single treaty with Ukraine and Russia since 2014, since there was a regime change essentially, like
is
a
that when
revolution.
Obama was in?
No, ever since then,
2014
there's
wasn't when
been
Obama was
agreements
president,
between
okay.
like France, Germany. They were helping facilitate talks with the Minsk agreements 1 and 2. There was another ceasefire agreement in like 2019. Russia violated ceasefires and treaties with Ukraine over like a few thousand times. Sometimes during negotiations, during a signing of deals. Yeah. So like when it comes to not withdrawing military forces along the border, there was fighting along the border during Trump's administration as well. So Russia has been doing this for a while.
Putin's warning to the West?
What's that?
If NATO keeps encroaching, no, like you said, I'm gonna bring it up. I'll bring it up. If NATO keeps encroaching
but
to
remember,
the West, not even
you were
NATO
talking a lot of
itself,
crap in
because
chat so far.
America
You were talking
supplies
crap
the
in
missile
chat, and so
defense
far you've
that
been
is
blown out
over
on every
there.
single point. You've been blown out on every single point so far. So Ukraine. Okay, so for NATO expansion, you think NATO expansion is why Russia invaded Ukraine?
Well, Ukraine isn't a part of NATO, so.
You think NATO expansion is why Russia invaded Ukraine?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, why?
The missile defense systems.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What I mean?
What missile defense systems?
System. You don't know. America has been installing missile defense systems in every NATO country, encroaching
Yeah,
closer to the Russian border.
Yeah, defense. Yeah.
Defense,
Okay. Why would
That's
defense?
defense.
Why would defense be bad?
Okay, let me make a comparison.
So you
for
said
if
NATO's
you don't mind.
encroaching upon Russia. Are you going to say what if if China took over Mexico?
Do you understand? Do you understand?
Are you going to bring up that
waters-
dumbass example? Are
I'm
you
not-
going to bring up
I'm
that
not
dumb
making-
example?
Do you know what international waters are? That's what I'm asking.
Make your point.
International waters.
Make your
Do you
point.
know what that is?
Make your point.
Imagine Russia comes over here. Like, what is the international waters? 12, 13 miles off the coast, whatever. 15 miles, we'll say. Let's say Russia comes over here. They're in international waters, but they surround the U.S. with nuclear-capable submarines. How would the U.S. react to that?
So that'd be bad, right? So in the early
It'd be bad.
1900s or in
They
the
would
late
feel
1900s,
threatened. We would feel threatened, right?
in 1999, for example, there was a deal between NATO and Russia where if there's an understanding between the two that NATO was going to expand east, but the only thing Russia wanted was to make sure there'd be no active
they wanted a barrier.
there was no
They
attack
wanted
weaponry. There was no attack weaponry or nuclear warheads on the bordering NATO countries. So what? So like if NATO's
1999,
expanding, if NATO's expanding with
26
defensive,
years.
if NATO's okay, so you said NATO's expanding with defensive capabilities, not nuclear
Yeah,
capabilities,
so if anything
right?
ever
That can
popped
target
off
Russia.
and Russia had to respond or do anything, they would not be capable because our missile defense system would block everything immediately. We are encroaching on their borders. They may not feel threatened through offensive reasons,
Why
but
did
they feel
NATO?
threatened through
Wait. Why did
defensive
Russia not
means.
invade? Why did Russia not invade these countries earlier?
They felt no reason to. Until
But you said
Ukrainians
NATO
and
was
all the
encroaching.
people, they felt Russian. Well, Russia had to.
Wait, why did you? Wait. But why?
Russia had no
Why did
access
Russia?
to the
Why did
sea.
Russia? Why did Russia not invade?
They had
Okay,
no
wait. So
access to the
is
sea.
it
They had to take
NATO?
Crimea to
No.
take
Okay,
it
so
back.
NATO. Okay, rely on NATO. This NATO point
Mhm.
first off. So why did Russia not
Yeah,
invade? Why did Russia not invade Norway, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, or Poland? All these countries are NATO countries that border Russia. Why did Russia not invade them? You know,
Poland
and
doesn't
Finland
border- well,
was
Poland
a
might
more
border
recent
Russia.
addition.
Poland does
Poland
border Russia,
borders
but
the
it's
other
equal, they
territory
got-
Russia
yeah.
owns.
But
Yeah,
they
Russia
don't
still
border
owns.
the mainland of Russia.
They still border
They
Russia.
border
That's still another.
They border Belarus.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Has
They
a little
border
tiny
a
fucking
Russian
square
territory.
up there in the north.
Okay.
They
Don't, hey,
attack with.
you're relying on
But
that
it's not
point.
Russian
Okay, you're
mainland.
relying on
It's
that
not Russian
technicality.
mainland.
You're relying on that technicality because of the
It's
other
not a
points. So okay,
technicality.
so drop Poland then. When Norway, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania were joining NATO, why did Russia not invade those countries as well? Why are they invading only Ukraine?
Well,
and
last time
if
they
they
tried
already
to invade Finland, they got fucked up pretty bad in World War II.
if they from the perspective you're talking about with Russia, all right, why would they not care about those NATO? Okay, so if NATO is the big point here, encroaching on Russia, and there's already 6 NATO, okay, fine, 5 NATO countries on Russia's borders. Do you understand why your point's
Well, if
dumb?
you're looking at Lithuania, like those countries are pretty small, man. Like if
The
Russia
point
wanted
is
to take those
NATO.
over,
You can
like,
ship if you wanted to ship.
Ukraine's pretty
Do you
big
think
out
they
of all
don't
those
have? Wait, wait.
countries,
Do you not think that NATO has missile defense systems in these countries? You
That's
know
what I've been
that, right?
telling
You
you.
know that. You know that. You know your point's falling apart. You
Well,
know
of course they have. Like we've sent HIMARS over there. Like we like
you
if
know
they
you're,
didn't
yeah,
have it before,
exactly,
they have it now.
exactly. So the point about Russia doing this because of NATO expansion is not true, right?
No, I don't
You're
think
getting
so.
blown out. You're getting blown
I
out.
think it's a lot of. I think that has. I don't think it's the main reason.
You were
but I
talking
think
so
it's a
confident. You were
reason.
talking so confident.
I don't think it's confidence. I'm just talking. Trying to have a conversation.
In chat,
Like
in
I said,
chat,
we
you
can
were so
disagree, but it's
confident.
not-
In
it's not a-
chat, no, in
this
chat.
is not a got you, bro. I'm just trying to
Everyone's
fucking-
super. No, I'm just saying,
Or
everyone's
like,
super
yeah,
confident.
I don't
Everyone's.
mean to-
I'm happy you called it. No, I respect you for calling in because you were saying dumbass shit in chat and acting all like you're a genius and acting like I'm a dumbass. But now we're actually talking and you're getting blown out on every single point on this.
Okay.
Do you think Zelensky's a dictator?
What?
Do you think Zelensky's a dictator?
I don't think he's a dictator, but I think he is taking advantage of a situation. Not like Putin himself is a dictator. I will agree with that 100%. Putin is a dictator.
How is Zelensky taking advantage of a?
Well, like I said in the chat, Ukraine cannot have an election until this war is over. And while he was in there when this war started, they were sending billions and billions and billions. And I'm not saying all that money was laundered, but I'm saying if just 1% of that money was laundered, hey.
It's not that much money in
These people are
global
gonna get cut. These
terms.
people are going to get a cut.
That's not that much money. There's really not that much
Well,
money.
how can you? Okay, well.
By the way, if
so you're arguing for the military-industrial complex is what you're doing.
No, I'm arguing about geopolitics. Do you know that Zelensky?
Well, you're arguing for the military-industrial complex. This is what Democrats do, left, right.
Here you go.
I mean,
okay, fall back on broad points about military-industrial complex. I don't like the military-industrial complex. I'm a progressive.
They keep the war going.
I'm
and
against
they just want to bang, bang. We're going to send you billions and billions. We're going to take your tax dollars and send it over there. Oh, we don't care how many of these people died because we're not sending our people there to die.
You can't talk over your bad points. You can't talk over your bad points.
How many of these people do you want to die?
So Zelensky, did you know that Zelensky floated the idea if there was a deal made with
I think
Russia?
Zelensky played the piano with his penis.
Wait. Do you
yeah,
think
but yeah. But what you got to say about
Can
Trump?
you let me speak for 5 seconds? Can I speak? Hey, stop! You don't. You seem like you're losing the conversation because you can't let me talk.
I'm not losing. I'm just saying. I'm just
let me talk.
Out.
You want to let me talk? Want to let me talk? Want to let me talk?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you know Zelensky has floated the idea of him stepping down the moment there's a deal secured with NATO or with Russian peace, with security guarantees?
I would hope so.
But how does that correlate with your idea of him wanting to suspend elections? And by the way, you do know that
it's
elections
not my
are not
idea
permitted.
of him wanting to suspend the election. It's the Ukrainian way, the law. They cannot have an election
so
during the war.
But why would Zelensky get blamed for the Ukrainian law and the Constitution?
Why would Zelensky get blamed for the Ukrainian law and the Constitution?
Yeah, and do you think he should allow elections right now?
Would America?
No, we would not allow elections in this scenario, and it's not in our Constitution necessarily.
No.
But do you think Zelensky should?
It's not up to me.
But you wait. You have an opinion on this, though.
No, it's not up to me.
None of this is up to you.
If you want to say,
you're not making decisions. I know that.
Yeah, but if you want to go off just what it seems like, or just hang on. I'm trying to fucking. I would want him to have an election, yes.
Do you
Regardless
think Ukraine?
They're in a hard time, but it's still the Ukrainian people. They're still alive. There are still people there.
Okay, so
will the election be hard? Yeah, probably.
Do you think?
Is it impossible?
So
no,
one big thing with Ukraine and Russia is Russia invades Ukraine all the time. Russia views Ukraine as part of Russia. That's one big reason Russia's invading Ukraine right now. Probably the biggest reason.
They invaded Ukraine during Obama. They didn't invade it during Russia or during Trump. But as soon as Trump got out, they seen Biden, and then
Russia.
they
Okay,
invaded
the reason Ukraine's constitution includes this is largely because they know Russia invades very often. So right now, for example, if Russia claims 20% of Ukrainian territory, and I mentioned earlier, the parts of Ukraine that Russia has occupied or the parts that Russia wants as well, is the equivalent to if Russia wanted Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia from America. It's that much territory in Ukraine. There's no possible
Ukraine's
way.
one of like the larger countries over there.
Yeah, but there's no possible way for a country that's under occupation.
I don't think. That's what he wants,
election.
but I don't think that's what he's going to get.
No, but I'm saying you cannot have an election in those circumstances. You would never recommend that. It's impossible. You just can't do it, especially when Russia.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, Democrats think the 2024 election was stolen. What are you talking about?
We're talking about Ukraine right now.
Yeah, we're talking about Ukraine, but they can't have it because, like, what, 4 states out of 50 states in America? 5 states out of 50?
Florida,
Trump won all
Georgia,
7 swing states.
South Carolina.
So,
wait, why are you? Wait.
You got a bunch of people. You got a bunch of Democrats saying Trump stole the 2024 election.
Are you just relaying MAGA talking points because you don't know what you're talking about right now?
No, I'm just telling you what I see in the comments. I'm
like, hey, should Ukraine have elections right now when 20% of their country is occupied? And you're like, Trump won 7 swing states. Do you realize how stupid you sound?
Do you realize how stupid Democrats sound?
We're not even at war, and
they're complaining about a stolen election?
You got me good. Okay, name one Democratic official
I'm not
election
even here for a gotcha. I'm just...
Okay, name one Democratic official in America. Name one Democratic elected official in America who said the election was stolen in 2024.
Hillary Clinton.
Name one Democrat elected official. She didn't say that either. But name one Democratic elected official who's in government right now who said the election is stolen in 2024. AOC didn't say that either. You're just making shit up. When did she say that?
Yes, she did.
When did she say that?
When?
Yeah.
You want to go look up the fucking date and pull up the video?
I know she didn't say that because I saw a video of her telling people the opposite.
You saw a video of her. How many videos have you seen? Just a video, or
you have nothing at all?
You've seen a live stream. Okay, cool.
No, this is really, you're a liar. You're a pathetic lying person because you know that's not
Thank
true.
You.
Now, for Republicans, no, you know you are. Mm-hmm. You're with the shit-eating grin too. But the president of the U.S. right now does say the 2020 election was stolen, and he's listening to Putin, and Putin's telling him to cancel mail-in voting because it can't be safe for elections. We're listening to a totalitarian dictator of Russia on advice on American elections now. How pathetic America has gotten under Donald Trump. We're listening to Putin, of all people, who puts bounties on American troops' heads.
I think a majority of people agree that mail-in fucking ballots are kind of shit.
No, a majority of people don't agree with you. No. I could
they don't.
Right now,
okay.
Actually.
How did Trump get elected?
How does that have to do with mail-in voting?
Did he have the majority of the popular vote? All the electoral votes.
You're doing it again. You're looping again.
So you're arguing.
Again.
No, I'm just saying.
Buddy, I gotta get a laser pointer.
You're on the minority side of the conversation, acting like you're the majority. That's what I'm saying.
I need a laser pointer. Okay. Listen to me.
Okay, get one. Okay.
So mail-in voting in America, most Americans support
oh my God, it's everywhere.
Most Americans support mail-in voting in America. When Donald Trump says there's fraud, there is zero proof of that. The fraud rate for mail-in votes is 0.00006%, which is extremely low. All right, there's no proof at all.
I know that's not true, but yeah.
That is the actual stat reported from across the country, from every single state. Yes, that is the average. There is almost no fraud at all in voting. Okay, but Trump says there is fraud, and he's listening to Vladimir Putin,
hang on. If the 2020 election, from the Democrat perspective, was the fairest and free election, why wasn't the 2024 election the same way?
What do you mean?
Well, Democrats said, like, on YouTube, you would get banned if you said anything about the election for the first 2 years. Because they would always say, you've seen it on the news, it was the fairest and free election. But after Trump got voted in 2024, that's when Democrats started to have a problem.
There's no problem at all. I mean, to be honest,
there's no problem at all. So
Republicans are still the ones
the president has been elected and has the most popular votes. He had the most popular votes, the majority of the fucking votes, all the electoral votes. So now the minority is complaining about the majority. And what you got? What from there?
What?
What from there? Like it,
I mean, you
we
can keep on
the
saying those
Republicans
things, but
couldn't
we
say
can talk
anything
about
about
actual
Biden in
topics.
2020, 2021, whatever you want to say. But after Trump gets elected, and we got all these people saying Trump's a dictator, he's this and that, even though he was a majority elected from popular vote, like I said, won all
You can
7
wait.
swing
You can
states.
be.
And
You can win.
You can laugh at that and scoff at that all you want.
You
but
can. You can
president
win an
winning all
election as
7
an
swing
authoritarian.
states
Yeah, because
is
you lie your
it's
way
a
into
big
power.
deal. It's
You
a
can
big
lie
deal.
Authoritarians can lie their way into power. Yeah, 100%. They can win power. It's just it's pretty common actually that authoritarians.
Yeah.
Can lie
Well,
to
what did
people and
Democrats
win
do
elections.
during the what was that, COVID? Oh yeah, was that didn't seem fascist to you? You couldn't comment. You couldn't say anything.
Wait, what
You
was
couldn't
fascist?
disagree with the government
Wait, what was
between
fascist?
2021 and 2024.
What was
Otherwise, you'd be
fascist?
canceled, deplatformed. If you
Wait,
talk
so
anything about
wait,
COVID.
okay, so private
Hang on,
companies. By the way,
hang on. No, I'm not done. You're
I
talking
want to
about, and
respond to
let's
the
bring up
points you're
the
making.
National Guard in D.C.
Hey,
right
wait,
now.
you're bringing up. Let's
Let's bring up the
COVID really
National
quick.
Guard in
I
D.C. right now. They didn't want the National Guard doing the January 6th riot.
Let me respond to your point really quick.
They didn't want the National Guard doing the January 6th riot.
Let me respond to your point.
And
We're
after
having a
that happened,
conversation.
what happened? They
We're having a
built an
conversation.
entire
Let me
wall
respond to your one
around
point.
the Capitol.
Buddy,
They built
buddy,
an
buddy,
entire
buddy,
wall, had National
buddy,
Guard
let me
out
respond to your
there,
first
looking
point.
like a fascist state.
Buddy,
literally built a
buddy,
wall.
calm down.
And now
Calm
that
down.
Trump came in and was like, hey, no, we're not going to have this crime happening in our fucking
You're deep throating
in
your
the
phone.
nation's capital.
You're deep throating your phone, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah,
You're safe.
now
You're
now
safe,
it's all
buddy.
fascism. Yeah,
Buddy,
I
you're
get it.
safe. You're safe. You're safe. So on COVID, all
I don't
right.
have to be
the
safe,
bans.
I'm
the
not
bans,
looking for a safe space.
The
I'm looking
bans
for the most aggressive fucking
okay,
thing I can find.
then let me respond to you. I understand you want to
Okay,
put a
go
hole in the wall
ahead.
right now because you're being intellectually dominated. You might like that though. The Trumpers have a
I
domination
might.
fantasy. It's a little bit weird. I know. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, dude, I love that
I'll help
shit.
you out. Okay. In 2020, when Trump was president, the bans were happening on these social media platforms. So when Trump was president, these bans for like disinformation on vaccines, it
No, it
happened
wasn't
under
just
Trump.
2020, bro. It was after that.
But I'm saying it's not a
COVID
Biden
didn't start till
problem.
the end of
These
2019.
private, no, but do you hear me though? These private corporations were banning people in 2020 and 2021. It happened before Biden, and Trump did Operation Warp Speed. So a lot of that was to protect Operation Warp Speed as well.
Okay, so hang on. Trump did Operation Warp Speed, which fast-tracked the vaccine.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, who do you think were the majority of people who took that vaccine?
Old people.
Democrats.
Yeah. True.
The
Because Democrats are pro-vaccine.
The majority of the Democrats took a vaccine from Trump, who they hate.
Yeah, because Democrats
They
are
didn't
not
take
brain dead.
one vaccine; they took multiple boosters afterwards.
Yeah, because Democrats believe in facts, so they don't just get caught up in political
believe in
partisan
facts.
battles.
Okay,
So yeah.
So can a man get pregnant?
Yeah, you can.
I can. Okay, cool.
You can.
I gotta wonder how
You
many
try
dicks
to.
I gotta
You definitely
stick up my
try
ass.
to. You try to. Keep on trying. You might get
I'm
it.
gonna try. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Oh, is that homophobic? Is that homophobic? I just heard from you.
Yes,
I can
it is
try to.
homophobic.
What do you mean by I can try to get
You
pregnant?
can keep
as a
on
man?
trying. You can keep on trying.
I can keep on trying? Okay.
Yep. Keep on
I
filling
was
up the
just
pump.
wondering. Okay.
Yeah. So what? You're not homophobic?
No, I don't care. I don't care if you're gay.
Oh, I do care if you're gay. I support the gays.
No, good for
And
you.
I cherish the gays. I love the gays. Do you love the gays?
No, like I said, I'm indifferent. I don't give a
Oh
fuck.
no, well I love the gays, so you're the homophobic one because I love the gays.
If you have to try to love somebody,
Oh, I don't try, buddy. I don't try. I don't gotta try at all. I don't gotta try whatsoever.
that's cool. Good for you.
Do you think yeah, you know. Do you think it's good that there's a military guarding the Lincoln Monument at 5 a.m. in the morning right now?
Probably for the best.
You know, I went on a lot of runs in the National Mall, and there was never anything happening at all, so it's kind of stupid. Really stupid. And authoritarian. But
Have you been to Deanwood in Washington, D.C.?
I
you
have
know
not
about
been to every
Deanwood?
area of D.C.
No.
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't live there. I visit there very often, but
You visit there very.
yeah, I've been through pretty much every type of neighborhood in DC. Usually if there's
no.
crimes or like robberies or homicides, I mean, usually there's gonna be people that know each other that do it. But in these areas that they have National Guard, like the Union Station, for example, where the Amtrak trains come in, having National Guard there is so deranged. It's actually kind of wild as shit.
Is that just your opinion, or like the opinion of the people who live there?
Yeah, it's the opinion of people who live there too. DC hates what's happening
Are
right
you
now.
sure? Are you sure
Yeah,
about that?
I know people who live in DC. They've never felt unsafe until now because there's unidentified federal agents
Well, they've
running
never
through the
felt
town for no
unsafe
reason.
until now. Wow.
Yeah, 100%. In these, and especially in these areas, these are rich areas. These people are patrolling, like rich liberal
Oh,
areas.
in the rich areas. Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason they have the military patrolling Union Station in DC, which has I've never had any issues there at all. Maybe a couple
Oh, wow.
pigeons flew
Well,
in.
good-
A
good
couple
for you, I
pigeons.
guess.
I was actually eating Chick-fil-A because I'm homophobic in the basement, and some pigeons were down there eating fries off the floor.
What's homophobic
So I guess I
about
felt in danger.
fried chicken?
Because Chick-fil-A hates gays.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, because they're really Christian nationalist. But I still eat the
No, so
Chick-fil-A
you do-
because I'm a
so-
bad person.
No, I'm not saying you're a bad person. You just don't. You can't disagree with somebody without, just hating them. I get it.
But like, we can disagree for sure on like sports teams, on tax policy. But if you disagree on the humanity and freedoms of my fellow Americans, then no, that's not really a
So what about
disagreeing point.
religion? So Christians hate gays. What about Muslims? What do you think about
Muslims in
Muslims and
America
gays?
are much more pro-gay than Christians are in America. Yeah, Muslims are more
Are you
progressive.
sure about that?
Yeah, I can look up polling really quick. Let's see.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
gonna, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
go
ask
ahead.
ChatGPT to source it for me.
Yeah.
Muslims
ChatGPT. Asking
versus
AI is a good choice.
Christians in America, LGBT acceptance rates. No, I'm not asking the AI for the answer. You use the AI to help you find a source.
That's
and
what you
use
just
the
said. You're
source AI
asking
finds
Chat.
you.
You're asking Chat.
No, okay, listen closely, listen closely,
It's fine,
listen
bro. It
closely.
doesn't matter. You can ask Google too. Google has AI now.
Listen
They're gonna
closely.
use the
Listen
same
closely.
answer, so, yeah, it's
So
all good.
American Muslims right now, in 2024, according to Pew Research Center, found that 57%. Now it hovers in between here from a couple different areas. Let's see. So Muslims and Orthodox Christians, for example, American Muslims and Orthodox Christians, they both believe 70% of them agree there should be laws protecting LGBTQ people from discrimination. The same number of Muslims and Christians also accept homosexuality in society. Muslims might have a little bit higher of a rate, but stats are hard to track. But according to Pew Research Center and also the Public Religion Research Institute as well, the PRRI as well. So yeah, in general, yeah.
So in
thing,
general, Christians and Muslims have about the same statistics.
Yeah, I'd say across the board, and Muslims are more likely to support
Yeah.
laws to protect people
what
because
were
they
you
would
just
say
saying
like,
about Christians, or like you can't compare it to Muslims?
well, not every Christian is the same, right? I know Christians who are very pro-gay.
Yeah, not
and
every Muslim
pro-LGBT.
is the same either, bro. Not every black
I
dude's
wasn't
the same.
talking
not
about
every
Muslims.
Asian's
I was
the same,
talking
not
about
every white dude's the
Chick-fil-A. You
same.
brought up Muslims, not me. I was talking about Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because you want to talk about Christians and hating gays. When I'm pretty sure when Christians in America are not killing gays and throwing them off roofs like they are Muslims in the Middle East.
Why did you bring that up? Christians in America would love to do that.
That's
Some
all
of
I'm
them.
saying. What do you mean? Why did I bring that up? That's the fact.
Well, without liberals, that
there are more
was happening to gay
Christians in
people.
America than there are in the Middle East. There are more Muslims in the Middle East
Yeah,
than there
and
are
we're lucky
Christians
we have,
in the Middle East.
and they're all conservative Muslims. They're fundamentalist Muslims. So like the government right now, Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, wants to take away the right for women to vote. That's pretty bad, I think.
I mean, I do too, but I do see the reason women are.
Wait, are you for real? You want to take away women's right to vote?
Nah, God, man, I want to keep them, but like, good lord.
Yeah, see, like you agree more with the Islamic states in the Middle East than you do with liberals in America, probably, on gay people.
But I was a Christian, so you're saying I am more towards the Islam side than I am Christian.
No, it's not about Islam or
That's
Christianity.
what you just said. You said I agree more
No.
towards the...
It's about...
That's probably because like a lot of women over
Okay,
here, I mean, you can look at the divorce rates, the single mom rates.
Oh, there he comes.
The biggest
there he
problem
goes.
in America
There he goes.
right
Let's go with
single moms,
There he
bro.
goes
You
again.
do not want me to bring up single moms.
There he goes again.
Single moms.
There he
3
goes
baby daddies
again.
getting child support.
3 baby
begging off
daddies.
of
Yes, don't
welfare.
blame them. Don't
That's
blame
where
the
it
baby
comes.
daddies. Blame the single mother. Yes, please.
I will. I will always blame the single mom
Awesome.
because they make
I
the
know you
bad
will.
choice.
I know you will, because you agree with the Islamic states you pretend to criticize.
No, I don't
to try
agree
and
with
weaponize it
the
against
Islamic
liberals and
State. I
progressives.
agree with what's happening in America right
You know,
now.
you're
where
just
everybody's saying-
Okay, so like,
Oh, okay.
I
Look at
love
OnlyFans.
America.
Look at OnlyFans. That's all I'm saying.
Brother,
Everybody wants to buy
OnlyFans,
OnlyFans.
you
Everybody
gotta
supports
go
OnlyFans
shake some hands.
in America.
All right? You gotta
If you're
go
a
meet
single
some
mom
people.
and you're a whore and you want to sell your pussy out there to all the world, you have the right to do so because you're
What
a feminist
percentage? Wait,
and you're
what
a powerful
percentage?
woman.
What
That's what
percentage
I'm
of
saying,
women?
bro.
What percentage of single mothers do you think do OnlyFans?
Oh, what percentage? It's a low percentage. How much? The real question is, what percentage of single mothers are on welfare?
You just hate single mothers then, because you brought up OnlyFans. If it's a small
Yeah,
percentage,
well,
why would you call them all OnlyFans models if there's a small percentage? Why would you focus on the small
I didn't
percentage?
call them all OnlyFans models.
Then why would you even talk
I'm
about
just
that? You
saying
just don't like the
there is a
women.
direct correlation between how many single mothers there are and how appropriate and how many people think it's okay that an 18-year-old, as soon as she turns 18, just sells photos
Okay,
of her
if
pussy
a
online.
14-year-old gets raped,
I didn't say
do you think?
14-year-old. I said 18.
No.
Don't bring up fucking
no.
children.
If
Don't
a
bring up fucking
14-year-old,
children in this goddamn conversation. You hear me? I said fucking 18-year-old people who are all fucking age, women who fucking make bad goddamn choices. Don't you ever fucking put me in the fucking same sentence as a fucking 14-year-old. You fucking piece of shit.
You're not listening.
Look at
You're
the
not
fucking
listening.
pedophile. What the fuck is your
No.
goddamn problem? What the fuck do you think I'm talking about? Talking about a fucking 14-year-old? No, I'm talking about 18-year-olds. Fucking dumbass fucking bitches making dumb fucking choices. Oh, I got fucked by fucking 15 fucking men and fucking 3 children. No, you want fucking 14? You want to bring up 14-year-olds? Go fuck yourself. Fucking die in a goddamn hole. You fucking piece of shit.
Okay. I was gonna say, if a 14-year-old gets raped, should she be able to get an abortion? But that guy went right to having, intercourse with children for some reason. Now, in a conversation, remember, and by the way, please donate to my channel. Please donate to my Joel of Politics on Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Usually, your brain doesn't go there, and you don't react like that if you're not, having insecurities about that topic. That's not a normal way to react to that. I know you all know that, but if you bring up like that topic to someone and they have a huge outbreak, they might have a personal reason for being very amped up on that issue, an insecurity within themselves, which can be a problem. Hysterical, very true. Yeah, that was really scary, actually. That's actually really scary that he reacted that way. Very scary. Yeah, known psych phenomenon. That's really scary. Like, if you were saying to a partner, like, hey, are you cheating on me? You think I would cheat? Me? Really? Like, they're cheating. Like, they're definitely cheating. You're a psychologist. Debating him into a rage quit. But yeah, that's the average, like, that's how Trump won. Huge overlap. Yeah, that was pretty concerning. And I wasn't even saying that as well, obviously. He's going to go full Jeffrey Sachs on your ass. Biolabs incoming. I didn't think so. And remember what he said before. He said, get yourself something to eat. Go outside and talk to someone other than yourself with super chats. Why are Democrats telling Ukraine how to fight a war? And he came in really confidently about Ukraine, and then I blew him up on every single point, and he got really upset during that conversation. You know what, though? Can someone edit shorts? That can help me go viral. That guy can help me go viral, guys. Think about it. Think about it. Please drop a like, repost, follow my page, subscribe. You're self-taught psychologist. Beautiful. He kept pivoting, too. He was also looking for a way out of the conversation. So another way to think about that is fight or flight. So what you would do is essentially, he finds that point in the conversation to start screaming, and then he says, like, after I'm done screaming my ass off, I can hang up and seem self-righteous about it. So he might not be a really creepy person who does that, but he was definitely using that. He was using that topic to quit the conversation as soon as possible. He was under the influence. I mean, so are all of the Trumpers. Most of the Trumpers I know are day drinkers, bro. Like, unironically. No, I don't. Yeah, it's not the best situation. But yeah, it could be good for clicks. I gotta edit that. Please drop a like, follow my page, all that kind of stuff. Jola Politics, Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Really appreciate any donations. I'm trying to get a studio built, an actual studio. Really appreciate it. What were we talking about? 18, 40. Sri, thank you for $5, Sri. Sri always sends $5 at night. Sri's always sending $5. Throwing dollar bills on the dance floor when I'm on that pole. For real. They're all alcoholics. Is anyone new to the page? Is anyone new to the channel? I'm not getting any more viewers right now. Or callers at least. Should I restart the stream really quick? What was that guy's thing right there? So anyone new? Oh, 1 second. Nice. Okay. Anyone new? I on YouTube Shorts, the algorithms. Did this guy call back? No, he didn't call back, I don't think. What time did he call? 1 second. On YouTube Shorts, I need to restart the stream sometimes to make sure I get viewers. 417 619. That's the thing. Test.
Test.
Okay. Will you teach me? Okay, wait, he's in chat. Will you teach me in chat? Okay, you were bringing up topics of controlling women and how you don't want them to do sex work or whatever. I brought up 14-year-old because I was going to say, should a 14-year-old who gets raped be able to get an abortion? And you freaked out and instantly went to a really weird place. I was asking another topic when it comes to controlling a woman's body, and you got really upset about it. All right, if you want to finish the conversation, you can call back in. But you have to understand, I was not calling you a PDF file. I was simply talking about another situation that was along the same topic. You know, it was not supposed to be what you thought it was, and then you got really upsetty spaghetti. Listen to Sax, Mearsheimer. He says a 14-year-old can get an abortion in any blue state. Nice. Yeah, in blue states they have rights, but red states they don't. Red states are like jihadists. I'm just kidding. Okay, thank you for all the super chats. I didn't respond to that yet. Girls hysterical, Green Lantern, $2. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for $2. Will you teach me? I mean, I appreciate the call. Hope you have a good night. Taking notes. He's gonna go full Jeffrey Sachs on your ass. Biolabs incoming again. Taking notes. Thank you. Really appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna make a new stream. Hopefully we get more viewers, more debates, more topics to talk about. On my channel, again, YouTube Shorts need to be reset every now and then. So, what's a hot topic today? Okay, I'm making a new YouTube Shorts stream. I stream on YouTube Shorts for better reach. I run a discount TikTok channel on YouTube Shorts. So if you refresh my page, you'll find a new stream. All right, guys, I'm ending this stream right here. I'll see you in the next stream, okay? I'll see you in the next stream. How am I number 1? Thank you for donating. All the XP. All right. Wait, Jordan? Jordan's top up there too. He must be talking a lot. All right, I'm ending this stream and starting a new one, guys. You are getting sued. Yes, I'm getting sued. The number will work once I start my new stream. All right, reset it. Go to my new stream. New stream coming up. New stream coming up, guys. Ending this one. This one's gonna end. Go to the new one. All right, then I'll take more calls. Thank you.